If you had to name the single most important thing to learn in Escape from Tarkov, what would it be? I'd argue that it might be simply how to extract. As a new player, one of your top priorities is getting out of your raids with the rubles and the quest items that you need to progress. So in this guide, I'm going to focus first on the best ways to extract from every map. Before we get into the specifics of each map, I'm going to include a quick guide on simply how extracting works in Tarkov. I'll also include how you can find all the extraction locations on your own. After that, we'll deep dive into strategies to succeed at extracting on each map in Escape from Tarkov. On every map, we'll look at things like spawns, rotations, how to turn on extractions that have in-game requirements, and those types of things. Alright, so let's get into the very basics of extracting. Each map in Escape from Tarkov has several extraction zones that you can use to get out of the raid. While in raid, at any time, you can double tap O, that's the default keybind, to bring up the extractions that are available to you for that raid. For most extractions, all you need to do is find the zone and be in the zone for the duration of the extraction countdown timer. You'll know you are extracting as long as the timer is going down. Some extractions, however, have special requirements to use. If the extraction has additional requirements like paying rubles or extracting with a scav as a PMC, it might indicate that in parentheses next to the extraction when you double tap O, or you may just need to know it. If you double tap O and you see question marks next to the extract, that means that the extract may or may not be open, and you need to check for some sort of indicator. That may be a light that's on, green smoke, the vehicle being there in the first place, those types of things. And again, for these types of extractions, we'll cover that in each guide for each map. All vehicle extracts will require you to pay some form of rubles in order to get out. You pay these rubles technically to fence, but you'll just pay them to the driver of the vehicle in raid. For every map that has a vehicle extract, we'll cover that in each map's guide. And these vehicle extracts add to your scav karma with fence. If it's listed as a co-op extract, that just means that you have to extract with the opposite player type. So if you're a scav, you need to extract with a PMC, and if you're a PMC, you need to extract with a player scav. Again, using these extractions will increase your scav karma with fence, and he'll actually give you a little thank you gift. You'll see it in your messages on the main menu. Okay, so once you know those very, very fundamental basics of how extractions work in Escape from Tarkov, next, you'll need to find them. The best way to find extractions is to use a third-party Escape from Tarkov map. You can find tons of options on Google. I personally use mapgenie.io, but just choose whichever one you like the most. The only maps that you shouldn't use are the in-game ones in Escape from Tarkov, because they are simply not any good. Once you find a map you like, filter to or find the extractions for either PMCs or scavs, depending on what you're running. They will not always be the same. Then simply line up which extractions you have in game, again by double tapping O by default, and use the map to locate them. Learning maps early on is a whole beast of its own, but if you watch my extraction guides for each map, that should help you with learning all of the specifics. There's a few other helpful things that you can do to learn the maps. You can run through them in offline mode without AI on, just run around and familiarize yourself with all of the different areas. You can utilize your scav runs on maps that you're struggling with, or just in general. Scav runs are basically free, so just use them to run around, learn the maps and where all the loot is, and don't worry too much if you die. Pay attention to landmarks and use them to orient yourself. If you can identify the mountain on woods or the dome on reserve, the resort on shoreline, things like that, and then use other things around you to orient yourself, you'll be able to much more quickly identify where you are on the map and learn how to get around. And then lastly, just play the game a lot. Just keep loading into raids. You'll probably die a bunch, but that's okay. Everyone dies in Tarkov. And eventually, once you've run around the maps a bunch, you'll know them like the back of your hand. All right, so let's dive into woods. What I want to do here is take a really deep dive into this map in regards to extractions. We'll also look at things like spawns and rotations to get to those extractions, and hopefully by the end of this, you will have a good understanding of what the extractions look like, where they are in the map, how to find them, and maybe generally some tips and tricks about how to navigate the map to get to them more safely. Woods is one of the largest maps currently in Escape from Tarkov, so it can be a tricky one to navigate early on. Even though it's tricky, you do have some important early game tasks here. One of those is getting and extracting with the letter to unlock Jaeger. So that's why I'm starting here. As a PMC, your extractions on woods are essentially split into either extracting on the east side or the west side of the map, with the exceptions being the vehicle extraction and factory gate, which we will get into in just a minute. If you spawn on the east side of the map, your extractions will be on the west side, and if you spawn on the west side of the map, they will be on the east side. Side note, if you're using mapgenie.io like I do, the extractions PMCs can use are labeled in blue and green. Orange extractions are for scavs only. Let's quickly cover the extractions that you will always have as a PMC. Factory gate is always available to PMCs no matter where you spawn, but it's a co-op extract. This means that in order to take this extract, you'll need to find and partner with a player scav in raid. I've taken this extraction 2 times ever, so don't count on using it to get out. If you need to find it, it's on the southeast side of the map, along the road between RUAF Roadblock and UN Roadblock. Bridge Vehicle Exfil is also open to all PMCs, regardless of spawn, but it's first come, first served. If someone takes it before you, you're out of luck. It's one of my favorite extracts to take on woods, but if you decide to head that way, you need to make sure you have time to get to a backup extract if someone takes it while you're on the way. Here are a few important things to know about the vehicle extract on woods. If you double tap O, you can tell whether the car is still available by the color of the text. If the color is normal like the other labels, it has not been taken. If it turns green, it means someone else has activated the car and started the 1-minute timer to get out. If you're close enough, you can actually reset the car extract by eliminating everyone who paid the driver. So if you're feeling like it, go ahead and push them. Side note, it will also turn green on your list if you walk into the extraction zone, so don't get confused if you see that. If the text turns red, this means that another squad has already taken the car and it can no longer be used for that raid. If the car is available, you'll need to pay the driver the amount shown on the top right at the extraction. This amount goes up and down with your scav karma, and having good scav karma will actually make the car cheaper. You can pay with the rubles that you bring into raid, or even rubles that you find in raid or that are given to you by someone else. No one else can pay for the car for you, but they can drop you rubles if they have extra. To activate the vehicle extraction, run up and select your interact key, which is F by default, to pay the driver. This will activate a 1-minute timer for the car. You need to be in the extraction zone with the timer counting down on your screen when the 1-minute timer runs out. It's best to wait somewhere near the car and cover, maybe down the hill by the shoreline, and then run to it with like 10 or 8 seconds left on the timer, something like that. And once you're up by the car, just keep moving around. Don't keep your head still. You don't want to be an easy headshot for someone watching over from afar. Now that universal exfils are out of the way, let's talk about the exfils that you will have if you spawn on each side of the map. For spawns on the west side of the map, you should have the following extractions available to you. The first one to look at is RUAF Roadblock. This extraction is on the south side of the map, just east of the bay. This extraction is only available if you see green smoke going off in front of it, and it looks like this. UN Roadblock is always open if you have it. There's no restrictions. It's on the very southeast corner of the map. It's straight down the road from RUAF Roadblock. ZB016 is on the east side of the map, and it's in the wooded area south of the mountain. ZB16 is an underground bunker, and it's only available if there's green smoke going off outside the entrance. If the smoke is up, you can run down the stairs and go to the back of the bunker, and you extract by the large metal door. The northern UN roadblock is on the very east side of the map, near the center point from north to south. It's at the end of the road, leaving the old sawmill if you're going south. It's always open with no restrictions if you have the extract available to you. It would take far too long to get into the ins and outs of how to play each spawn and the rotations for each map, all of the high traffic areas, and how to navigate everything, all the landmarks and POIs and all that type of stuff. But I can give you a few simple pointers that might help you survive. Of course, these are not guarantees. Everyone in Tarkov dies, and every raid is unique with different goals, so don't use these as rules, just things to consider when making decisions, and hopefully can maybe help guide you from your spawn to your extraction a little bit easier. In general, of course, sticking to the outskirts of maps is safer, and knowing high traffic and high loot areas to avoid can help if that's your goal. If you spawn on the northwest side of the map, just know that there are lots of other spawns nearby, so be careful. It's common on this side of the map for PMCs to push the USEC camp. So keep that in mind as you rotate, depending on whether or not you're looking for PvP. Most PMC rotations after looting nearby areas will be towards Scav Town and the vehicle extract, or south towards the sawmill lumberyard near the bay. It's common to hear fighting in Scav Town between the squad that spawned there and either the AI scavs or another squad that rotated in to try to take the car. The sawmill by the bay is where most high-level players will push. They're focusing on finding Sturman, the wood scav boss, and the high-level loot in that area. The military base near Ruaf is another place where PvP is common due to the decent loot and capturing outposts, which is an endgame quest to get the Kappa container. With this in mind, if your goal is survival, I like to rotate towards the mountain in the center of the map and then wrap the north side of the mountain towards the east. From there, you can take the woods or the ridgeline to work towards the east edge of the map and move towards your extraction, avoiding the new sawmill by the bay and the military base. If you spawn on the southwest side of the map, it can be difficult to rotate in a way that avoids PvP. So just keep your eyes peeled. You will also have mines to the west border of the map, so be careful to avoid those. Oftentimes, fights will occur near the wall at ZB14 extraction pretty quickly after spawn. They'll also happen in the wooded areas rotating towards the sawmill. My general rotation, if I'm not pushing new sawmill for PvP or the scav boss, is to carefully move north of ZB14 and taking the trees and the ridgeline north of checkpoint and north of the sawmill, work my way towards the mountain. This is a similar rotation to if you spawned on the northwest side of the map. Just be on the lookout for the sniper scav at the top of the south side of the mountain. As you're moving north towards or past ZB14, just be careful. Players might be waiting there for your rotation from a distance. They can spawn well up to the north, kind of near USET camp on the ridge and overlook you. They can spawn at ZB14 if you spawned deep to the southwest. They can spawn below you in the southwest and push up. And they can also be rotating in from other areas and just kind of looking for that rotation. My recommendation is to move quickly from cover to cover, scan the ridge lines, don't run in a straight line when out of cover, and it can be a good idea if you spawn very far down on the southwest side of the map to just go ahead and take painkillers right away. That way if you get shot in the legs, you can continue to run and move to cover. Hopefully you now have a better grasp of extractions and rotations from the west to the east side of the map onwards. Now let's take a look at the extractions you have if you spawn on the east side of the map. You will have the following extractions available to you in addition to the vehicle and factory gate, of course. First is Outskirts. This large extraction zone is on the very southwest side of the map. Since ZB14 is behind a lock and it's not always open, Outskirts is the only guaranteed no requirements extract if you spawn on the east side of the map. On top of that, it's also an extract for player scavs, and it's near the high traffic new sawmill at the bay. This means that Outskirts can be the busiest extract on the map. This information should be taken into account anytime you're playing Woods. The ZB14 extraction is on the west side of the map by the wall north of Outskirts. ZB14 is an underground bunker, and it's only available if there's green smoke going off outside the entrance. The extraction area is also locked behind a barred metal door. If the smoke is up, and if you have the ZB14 key, you can run down the stairs, open the door, and go to the back of the bunker. You will extract by the large metal door. The back room behind the lock also commonly spawns the 60-round magazines that you need for the ice cream cones quest, so you should check for those on your way out. Now let's take a look at the southeast side of the map. I'm also going to include the spawns that are near the center mountain. From these spawns, keep in mind that players will commonly push towards the military camp and the sawmill near the bay. If I'm not trying to push either of those high traffic locations, I'll generally make one of two rotations. The first is to rotate north and loot on my way to the vehicle extraction. But keep in mind that a squad generally spawns at the scav village, so you may need to move fast and you may need to fight them for the vehicle. However, they may also just leave and let you have the vehicle uncontested. The other rotation I commonly take if I'm playing to survive is towards the mountain, avoiding the military camp and the sawmill at the bay. Then you can cautiously make your way around the north side of the mountain towards the west. Then cross the road and take the trees or the ridgeline north of sawmill and north of checkpoint towards the west side of the map. It's important to stay north of checkpoint. That area is not very safe to be in. After I get past that area, I'll generally cross down to the south towards ZB14 sort of near the wall. Then I'll follow the wall down towards ZB14 to hopefully take it if it's open. I always bring the key if I can, and it's much safer than going down to outskirts. If it's not open, I try to work the very west edge of the map towards outskirts. Just be careful of the out-of-bound minefields to the west border of the map. Southeast spawns are decent for early raid safety, as you can more easily take routes to avoid other spawns, but the rotations to extraction can be very difficult. You have limited options, you have to cover a lot of distance, and you don't get the spawn closest to the vehicle extraction. With that said, just play it slow, and if you can, try to avoid military base and the new sawmill down by the bay. Try to rotate, in my opinion, up by the mountain. Take some breaks, don't sprint all the time, listen to what's going on, and just make your way over to the very other edge of the map and use that edge of the map to get down to outskirts, and good luck. Now let's take a look at what to do if you spawn on the northeast side of the map. If you did, it means you likely spawned near the river on either side of the Scav village. For these spawns, you can opt to loot the Scav village, kill the Scavs there, and just go ahead and leave via the vehicle, which I often like to do. There is really good loot in the area, and you don't have to traverse the map just to extract. Just know that you might have to fight another PMC or squad pushing the village from the west or the south. It's common for people to overlook the village from the ridge near Old Sawmill, or to move up through the trees or coastline on the west side of the village. If you choose to rotate out of the village and not take the car, again, I like to rotate towards the mountain. I wrap the north side towards the west and follow the same route from there as I showed in the southeast spawns. Again, to put it simply, that rotation is to go north of checkpoint, as far as over towards the west as I can, and then cross the road down by the wall at ZB14 and take the west side of the map down to outskirts if I need to go that far. The reason I often rotate towards the north side of the mountain is because most of the mountain is less traveled than the other points of interest on woods. And the rotations out of the mountain can pretty easily avoid other common POIs by sort of just splitting between them. Of course, like I said in the beginning, these are just rotations to consider. Everyone dies in Tarkov, so these are by no means guaranteed successful rotations. Also, every raid is different, and as you get used to each map, you'll begin to better understand how to rotate based on shots you hear, time in the raid, what's been looted or not looted, doors that are open, your goals in the raid, and all of those other factors. If you are doing scav runs, here are the extracts you can take if they are available to you. Again, check your extracts by double tapping O by default. Scav Bridge. This extract is on the northwest side of the map. Later in raid, it can be a bit safer as there are no nearby PMC extractions. Go into the back corner of the trailer on the left side to extract more safely. The extract is only open to Scavs. The Scav Bunker extract is at the Scav camp with the radio tower, just south of the Scav Bridge. Again, this one is pretty safe from PMCs later in the raid. You can extract by going downstairs and going to the back of the last room in the bunker. The extract is only open to Scavs. The Mountain Stash extract is on the ground level of the south side of the main mountain in the center of the map. You can simply run in from the ground level, or you can get down by carefully sliding down the rocks from the campsite or the rocks above. The extract is only open to Scavs. Northern UN roadblock is just down the road south of Old Sawmill. You can extract by running up to the large wall. The extract is also open to PMCs. Eastern Rocks is just south of Northern Roadblock, and it's just up the hill. You extract by standing on the hill near the broken walls. This extract is only open to Scavs. Old Station is on the southeast side of the map between UN Roadblock and Eastern Rocks. You extract by running into the broken down brick station and going towards the backside. The extract is only open to Scavs. UN Roadblock is in the very southeast corner of the map. You extract simply by running to the end of the road. The extract is also open to PMCs. Factory Gate is on the south side of the map, off the road between UN Roadblock and Ruaf Roadblock. If you're a Scav, it can only be taken by extracting with a PMC you meet in raid. Taking the Factory Gate will give you a bonus to your Scav karma. Ruaf Roadblock is on the south side of the map, just to the east of the bay. As a Scav, you can take the extract even if there is no green smoke up. There's no restrictions. The extract is also open to PMCs, but there must be green smoke up for the PMCs to take the extract. The boat is on the west side of the bay, south of the new sawmill. You can take the extract by running out onto the dock. The extract is only open to scavs. Deadman's Place is just south of the boat on the west side of the bay. You extract by going down near the water behind the rocks where a static dead body, duffel bag, and loose loot can be found. The extract is only open to scavs. Scav House is on the southwest side of the map between ZB14 and Outskirts. You can extract by going to the main room of the broken down shack. The extract is only open to scavs. Outskirts is a very large extraction zone on the very southwest side of the map. It can be taken simply by running down the road near the truck. Outskirts is often the busiest extract on the map. The extract is also open to PMCs. Thank you so much for checking out this woods extraction guide. If you enjoyed the video, a thumbs up or a comment is always appreciated. Just let me know what you thought. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I'll be putting out more content in the future, so be happy to have you tag along. And until next time, later.